Let's get everything ready to go. Make sure this is on top. Make this visible. Make sure my internet is working. Since the last time I did this, I was talking to myself for 40 minutes, which kind of sucks. That's a mistake you learn never to make again. All right. If this is working, I can get started. Let's see if this is working. Type 2 in the chat. All right, we're here. Hey everybody, how's it going? Hope you're having a lovely day. So yesterday, I did a video on right to repair passing through the House in Colorado. This is an agricultural right to repair bill. Right to repair passes the House in Colorado. John Deere will be pissed, which I've heard directly from the horse's mouth that they are kind of pissed and scrambling at the fact that this passed 44-17. Now, this bill still has to make its way through the Senate, which is going to be a bit of a hurdle to get done. So here's what I wanted to talk about today in today's video. I just wanted to make a very clear announcement as to where myself and my nonprofit repair preservation group stand when it comes to supporting farmers' right to repair legislatively and culturally. I've talked at great length on this channel about how organizations who claim they exist to support farmers, who have farmers paying dues to them on a regular basis, routinely screw over farmers. Whether we're talking about them supporting and endorsing candidates that wind up speaking out directly against right to repair for farmers, or we talk about people who were the vice president of the Farm Bureau going to work for dealer trade associations that lobby against right to repair. This entire system with farm bureaus, whether state or federally, has been a case of a fox in the henhouse. I've gone over this many times, and there is no place that you could better understand this than you can with this newest memorandum of understanding that I talked about in this video, where I speak directly with a farmer. This memorandum of understanding does not give people access to anything that they actually need to be able to work on their tractors. And the worst part of it is right over here when we're talking about this memorandum of understanding with the American Farm Bureau. With the American Farm Bureau, this says right over here when it comes to legislation, and I quote, American Federal Farm Bureau agrees to encourage state Farm Bureau associations to recognize the commitments made in this MOU and refrain from introducing, promoting, or supporting federal or state right to repair legislation that imposes obligations beyond the commitments in this MOU. In the event any state or federal legislation or regulation relating to issues covered by this MOU or right to repair is enacted, each of the American Farm Bureau and manufacturer reserve the right upon 15 days of notice to withdraw this MOU. Now, as we've gone over, this memorandum of understanding, A, is like toilet paper. You don't have to listen to it. This is like me writing on a napkin, I will be nice to Apple. Like it's not enforceable in any way, shape, or form. And B, what is in the MOU is not what the farmers are actually asking for. It does not solve their problems. So I want to make a commitment and a line in the sand right here so that people understand how this works. John Deere has a memorandum of understanding with the Farm Bureau, both state farm bureaus and federal farm bureaus. They do not have a memorandum of understanding with me. So that means that I am going to continue to fund lobbying and grassroots advocacy in cities and states around the country, and if bills pop up federally, I will support them there financially. In the beginning, I was mostly focusing on the consumer electronics right to repair, and a lot of the farmer right to repair stuff, I was really only getting involved tangentially. I wasn't really putting a lot of money or time into it because that's not my lane, that's not my thing. I grew up in New York City, I lived in Brooklyn for 18 years, and as they say, a tree grows in Brooklyn. They don't really have anything there. However, with this new memorandum of understanding, what John Deere has done is they have ensured that farm bureaus around the country no longer look after the legislative interest of farmers. And if they're not going to do it, then I will. What this means is that in states like this, in states like Colorado, where we actually got a bill past the House, but it hasn't passed the Senate yet, I am willing to put tens of thousands of lobbying dollars of my own nonprofit's money into this, even though this has absolutely nothing to do with consumer electronics right to repair. I am more than happy to support this, and I will be supporting this. And in states where the Farm Bureau has left farmers behind, I will pick up the slack and pay for lobbying in those states so that farmers do not have these right to repair bills go by the wayside. The only leverage that farmers had on John Deere to actually get anything was the threat of legislation passing that actually allows them to do things like replace a moisture sensor without having to have a dealer tech come by to repair it to the effing tractor. And if they're not going to be able to do that with this memorandum of understanding, if they're not going to be able to do that, then I will fund the legislative solutions if they're not able to. So in getting right to repair past the finish line in Colorado, I will be funding a lobbyist in that state. And I'm currently funding one in Missouri, Minnesota, and we're probably going to try to get something pushed federally, and I'm happy to fund this. We raised over $900,000 a few years ago towards this goal, and if nobody else is going to put their money on the table to kind of poke John Deere in the eye, then I will. So again, John Deere has a memorandum of understanding with the Farm Bureau. They've clearly, in my opinion, purchased the Farm Bureau. You have people who are literally the vice president of the Farm Bureau going to work for the Equipment Dealers Association and associations that lobby against right to repair. This is a joke. This is a joke. This entire Farm Bureau system, there is a lobbyist. There is somebody who works at one of the Farm Bureaus. I'm not kidding. And this is in the email that was forwarded to my lobbyist when we actually tried to get farmers' right to repair worked into our general right to repair will. Our problem isn't really a non-ability to repair our own equipment, but more a lack of service providers in key times of the year. Most farmers don't have or care to have the knowledge of the equipment to repair their own equipment, so it's more of a service provider issue. I don't think the bills you guys are going with will address our issues, so we won't be going in that direction this session. We are still looking at several options, but not sure a legislative fix is the answer. So to keep your bill clean, I'd recommend removing farm equipment from the bill. If not, I'd probably have to ask for an amendment to the bill to remove it, and that would make it super difficult to keep the bill moving. AKA, I'm going to pretend that my constituents, the farmers, don't actually want this, in spite of the fact that they voted in favor of it 176-1. I'm going to keep this from the farmers. This is a private email that he's probably not sharing with farmers, but I am because I don't care. And if we don't remove it from the bill, then he's going to try to tank my bill. You see, I'm not playing with this anymore. I'm not fucking with these people anymore, and I'm not playing anymore. The Farm Bureau does not represent or support farmers. They have been very, very, very clear in what it is that they want over and over and over again, and they don't care. I did a video on this about 3.5 years ago. Nebraska Farm Bureau supports right to repair 176-1. 176-1. In spite of the fact that the Farm Bureau constituents have voted 176-1, they're doing this. They're doing this. They're signing agreements that say we will no longer lobby in favor of this. This is a joke, and I'm not going to wait for them to decide to grow a pair of balls to actually start doing something on it. So I'm pretty excited about this. I'm happy about it, and I would say don't listen to what I say. Listen to the results. Because again, a lot of people, and again, I'm sure farmers are used to getting effed by now. A lot of people have said, we are going to support you. We're going to listen to you, this, that, and the other. And then they literally turn around and they go to work for the enemy. And then he actually sent Kevin Kenny an email. I shit you not. It was something along the lines of, like, don't forget to pay your dues or something like that, which is just such a backhanded slap in the face. It would be like if I went to work for Apple. If I went to work for Apple and then I told all of you guys, by the way, your monthly donation to, here it goes, right over here actually. So this says, did you take a job at the Equipment Dealers Association? Just curious. Sorry for the delay, was busy. Yes, I have been offered a new opportunity and will be working with the Iowa-Nebraska Equipment Dealers Association starting later this month. Until then, full speed ahead at Nebraska Farm Bureau. P.S. Your membership is expired. Winky face! And then Kevin Kenny tells me, got it straight from Benedict Arnold. These people have no sense of shame. They do not care. They will more than happily sell out farmers, and in my opinion, they have been doing that for a very long time. You have no reason to believe that I'm not going to do the same thing. So here's what I'm going to say. Here's the commitments I'm going to make, and here's what I'm going to suggest you do. I'm going to commit to the following. A, nothing about farmers without the farmers. So anything that I seek to get passed, any piece of legislation that I seek to get pushed through, any legislation that I lobby about is going to be a piece of legislation that I am running past people that are actual farmers. So I interviewed a farmer on this channel a while ago. His name was Kevin Kenny. It was almost 2 hours long. He's been doing this his whole life. He's been trying to push for this his whole life. If he thinks that something I'm pushing for is bullshit, then we change what we're doing and we push for something that is not bullshit. Whether we are talking about Jared Wilson, who I had interviewed prior, or we are talking about, or somebody like Kevin Kenny. If these people, the actual farmers that do the work, think that what we are pushing for is bullshit or watered down in any way, we will change it. The second thing that I'm going to commit to is I am not going to accept it as a victory if any of these people say that what we have pushed forward has been modified or Kathy Hochul in any way, where they just kind of got the legislation. I'm not going to be making any sort of compromise like that and pretending it's a win. If I lose, I will come out here and admit we lost. Here's why we lost. Here's where we failed. I'm sorry, but I'm not going to pretend something's a win when it is not a win, the way it happened with the New York State bill that Governor Kathy Hochul and TechNet butchered and then pretended actually passed. And what I would suggest is just look to see that we're putting our money where our mouths are. Again, the filings for both Repair Preservation Group and Repair Preservation Group Action Fund in many cases are made public. I do videos from time to time where I actually go over the bank statements so you could see who it is that we're paying with these. And I welcome you. Read the legislation that we push for, and don't believe anything that I'm saying until you actually see it for yourself. But I'm going to be putting some money in several of these states in the hopes that we actually get something passed and that we win. To be clear, I am going to need help from actual farmers on a lot of this stuff because I grew up in Brooklyn. I don't know. I can't keep a Venus flytrap alive. I don't know how. I don't know how to plant a flower in my backyard, much less how to use a tractor or how any of this stuff works. So it's something I will be asking for help with over the next few months. And yeah, that's about that. I'll read some of your comments and go from there. Hello, Paul Daniels. That's not Clinton, I think. That's my berry. That's my blackberry over there. Can't believe you guys can't tell the difference. The memo sounds good. Yeah, the thing that's disappointing about the memo, that memorandum, is that they agreed, before they actually got anything, they agreed to stop taking any sort of legislative action. So they gave up all of their leverage. And that was one of the only organizations that was actually financially supporting a lot of the lobbying that was going on. All right, that's that. So here's to poking a stick in the eye of John Deere. I look forward to it. Wish me luck, and I'll see you all in the next video.